Greeting gamer guys and gals, this is one less one. I'm bringing you a Magic the Gathering video today. We're going to be looking at standard format. I've been brewing a lot with standard with the new set coming out, so let's get into this. I have a Jeskai combo deck. I've been playing this deck for a little while now. I really like how it's performing, so I figured I'd make a video on it and share you guys my thoughts on it and how it works and how it performs in standard currently. So this is a standard Jeskai control/tempo deck. You have Clash of Wills, Declaration and Stones, Spell Quellers, a couple Reflector Mages, and Ojutai's Command to kind of control the board, draw, keep your hand full, counter things for that your opponent's trying to play, and put them off on your general game plan while you develop a board and eventually outvalue them. Now, I mentioned this is a combo deck, and it's not really like your typical combo deck that does infinite damage or you gain infinite life or deals infinite infect damage. It's nothing like that. So this is just more of a value combo that a lot of people don't really expect in standard. They're really not expecting this two combination of cards to come through. And what cards am I talking about? I am talking about Dragon Tempest and Descent of Dragons. So now the way this combos is, Dragon Tempest deals damage to a creature or player equal to the amount of dragons you control. And when you cast Descent of the Dragons, you can destroy any number of creatures and put a 4/4 in its place. So how this combos your opponent out is you destroy 3 of your creatures, dealing 9 damage to your opponent's face, and then attacking for 12 in the air because they come in with haste. So that's 21 total damage. A lot of people don't expect it to come through, and there are a lot of people just get blown out. They don't really think about Dragon Tempest doing anything until you kill them in one turn. So it's pretty cool. So how do I get those creatures? Basically what I do is I use 2 Dragon Master Outcasts as kind of more of like a late game threat. If I get it on the field and have counter magic up when I have 6 lands, I can start just basically putting out a 5/5 every turn, and eventually with the Dragon Tempest, it starts dealing quite a lot of damage. I have 4 Jace Vryn's Prodigies in the main board just to cycle through cards. You need a lot of card draw and a lot of cycling for a control/tempo deck really to work. I'm using 4 Catalog, the new divination, if you will. You draw 2 cards at instant speed, but you have to discard a card, which really isn't that big of a drawback considering you have Jace in your deck. So if you just have multiples of the same card in your hand, you can just draw 2, pitch 1, and then just fill your graveyard. Even more so to have Jace flip a little bit easier. 3 Declaration and Stone, just an amazing removal spell. 4 Clash of Wills. I'm running 2 Reflector Mages in the main board, and I have 2 more in the sideboard. I have 4 Spell Quellers. This card is just a beating. I have won and lost games just from playing Spell Quellers. Being able to exile a spell and having counter magic up or making it indestructible, through other various means, and then just hitting them for 2 every single turn, sometimes 4, sometimes 6. It puts your opponent on a faster clock than I think a lot of people give it credit for. 2 Ojutai's Command. This is just another value card with so much creature combat and ground-based creature strategies being really prevalent in standard nowadays. Ojutai's Command is really awesome. Being able to counter one of their spells, get one of your Jaces or your Dragon Lord or your Dragon Master Outcasts from the graveyard back to the battlefield. Gaining 4 life is decently relevant, and then you can just draw a card. So, if all else fails, it's 4 mana, gain 4 life, draw a card at the end of their turn. Not that big, not that great, but 2 of them is just perfect. 3 Gideon of Allies Zendikar, main board, no surprise there. If you're running white, run Gideon, your deck's automatically better. This guy is amazing. He not only can be a 5/5 beater, he puts out tokens to feed to your dragons, but also one of the other synergies I have with this deck is using Gideon with Secure the Waste. Now, Secure the Waste has kind of fallen out of favor. I don't see a whole lot of lists run it, but I run 4 in the main board. I think this card is just fantastic, especially with how much Bant Company and Bant Humans and green-white tokens are going on. Being able to flash in 4, 5, 6, maybe sometimes I've gotten up to 10 at the end of their turn, a lot of people don't expect it to come, and this can set you up for your lethal Dragon Tempest Descent of Dragons combo. At the end of their turn, you flash in 3 creatures, and you have this in the field, and they're tapped out. you can then just, boom, hit him for 21 and, kill him out. So that's the main board. I run 24 lands, obviously, because it's like a tempo / mid-range control deck. I run 4 Pain lands, 2 Battlefield Field Forges, 2 Shivan Reef. I run 8 tap lands, both white-blue, because most of this deck is white-blue. Red is just very lightly splashed, a little more in the sideboard. I run 3 basic plains, 3 basic islands, 2 basic mountains, 3 Evolving Wilds just to help filter early game since you don't really have a turn 1 play, and to help feed the graveyard for Jace. And I also run 1 West Vale Abbey. Some lists run 2 that I've seen, like token-based strategies, just to be able to get Ormondal out a little bit easier. I'm just running the 1. I really don't want to draw too many colorless sources in this deck because all my spells have a lot of colors in them, and I need it. Just having the 1 though is just enough. A lot of the times you just get him on the field, have a couple things out, sack it away, and then you're in good shape. And it's just a good value card. If you can get him on the field, a lot of the times he'll win you the game. So let's look at the sideboard. We have 2 Linvalas in the sideboard, just as a good value creature. A lot of times I'll side out the combo, if you want to call it, if it's really not working out against my opponent where I can't reliably keep creatures on the field in any way. I usually just side in Linvala instead of the Descent of the Dragons, just because if your opponent's ahead on board and ahead on life, being able to play her can just completely swing a game out in your favor. 1 Planar Outburst is just 1 sweeper. You could run Descent of the Sinful, or Descent upon the Sinful, excuse me. But I chose Planar Outburst just because you can cast it 1 turn sooner, and it's really fast right now in Standard. Very, very fast combat. Lots of damage early, lots of creatures. And being able to cast this 1 turn earlier can actually save you in a lot of cases. We have 2 more Reflector Mages in the sideboard against any kind of creature-heavy based strategy. I originally had Nahiri in here as a 2 of, just so I could search out like a Linvala late game. But the more I played with her, I found that a lot of the times I was just filtering, and filtering's not always that bad. But a lot of the most powerful creatures, like Sylvan Advocate and stuff like that, especially Sylvan Advocate, don't tap. And her Exile Tap Creature clause really is not that relevant right now, since a lot of people just attack with 1 or 2 creatures. So I don't know. I might try Nahiri again, but for now this is the sideboard I'm going with. So 2 Reflector Mages, 2 Radiant Flames for any kind of token-based strategies, White Weenies, things like that. Maybe the Spirits deck. You can pretty much wipe their entire board with 3 damage. 1 Nahiri's Wrath, just because when you sideboard you have a couple more bigger cards, and you can deal up to 8 or 9 damage to their side of the board only. So just 1 is just a really good Wrath effect. Literally, it's Nahiri's Wrath. So running 3 Negates in the sideboard, really good against any kind of Super Friends deck that I've been running up against a lot recently. Green-white tokens, Bant Company, any green-white human company based deck, being able to sideboard in 3 Negates against them is actually pretty backbreaking in a lot of cases. 2 Roast, the 5 damage is really key. A lot of creatures, have 4 or 5 toughness. Languish was like supposed to be the super powered board clear, but as Standard has developed, a lot of creatures end up having more than 4 toughness. So being able to do that extra 1 little point of damage actually does quite a bit. We're also running 2 Selfless Spirits in the sideboard. Every single time I play against this card, it completely ruins strategies. Just the fact that it's on the field and the fact that at any time you can give your entire team indestructible just blanks so many of your opponent's plays. If they go to cast like a Languish or just wrath your board away or whatever, and you have a couple creatures on the field, just being able to sacrifice Selfless Spirit and keep your, 2 or 3 spell quellers that might be holding, a very valuable spell to your opponent who's really trying to get it away. It's just such a roadblock. And like every time I played against the Blue-White Spirits deck, this card alone completely screws me. Like, I can get around the spell quellers, I can get around the rattle change, I can get around all the other stuff like the Mausoleum Wanderers and all this stuff. But Selfless Spirit single-handedly ruins so many strategies. So I'm using 2 in the sideboard as kind of like a an anti-board wipe, because as soon as you have you know, spell quellers on the field, maybe a reflector mage, you know, a dragon master outcast, a dragon, and like 2 tokens, and then you bam hit your Gideon emblem, and everything gets +1 or +1, and then they go to wipe your board. You know, having a 3/2 flyer with the emblem that can give your 3/4s and your, you know, 2/2s indestructible is just amazing. It screws with combat so bad. A lot of the times you can just attack in with your ground creatures, and your opponent won't even block half the time because you can just sack your little you know, selfless spirit and just make all your stuff indestructible. So it just blanks combat in so many cases. It gets rid of removal. This card is just a beast. Combined with Spell Queller, you know, you're looking at some serious value. So that's the deck so far. Again, this is still kind of like a prototype deck. I'm going to be playing some games with it as this new modified version to see how it performs, and hopefully we do good. So I'll see you guys next video, and thanks for watching.